Over the last 15 years, there's been significant changes in how aerospace and defence companies handle regulatory compliance and ensure they're not in breach of export controls particularly. But if you look at the maturity and go down the levels of the aerospace and defence supply chain, it's not very long before you get to small and medium-sized enterprises. Often those companies are actually family-run businesses and they don't necessarily understand the full requirements of the regulatory requirements. They might not have the resources or the expertise to address them as well. And this means that the primes, tier 1, 2 companies who do have the resources and are big players really have risks that they don't understand and they can't really clarify. So they could unwittingly be dealing with barred companies, sanctioned individuals, and the consequences of those infringements now for the C-suite executives are becoming significantly exposed. Company reputations are at risk, and that needs to be addressed in aerospace and defence, and even more so in defence, because there you've got military contracts, you've got end user certificates, you've got military export compliance requirements, and you can't not be compliant to those requirements. I think Sayari is uniquely positioned to map cross-border transactions for its customers. So they know where their products and materials are really coming from through complex multi-level supply chains. Through this, customers can identify issues in the supply chain in terms of ethics, ownership, regulatory risks, and ultimately protect their reputation in the marketplace and also the individuals responsible for compliance to the respective laws. I think proactive management of the risks is now essential. You can't leave things to chance and hope that you'll be compliant. If you're not compliant, the implications in terms of being barred from work or detainments, fines, compliance, I don't think is any longer an option other than to be compliant. I believe the UN Sustainable Development Goals will become more prevalent in corporate social responsibility agendas, and supporting better compliance and making sure that there's governance in place is only going to increase. And what Sayari does is they address large elements of that, and so the value they're offering to their customers can only increase as that agenda increases. And I think the recent integration of customer ERP data into the Sayari tool as well really is a major step forward, because now they can map increasingly complex supply chains. They can do unique customer supply chains as well, which has additional value. And only through that can customers and companies really have a high degree of confidence that they're compliant. I think as companies scale, increase their global supply chains, the accuracy of information on ownership and compliance gets increasingly complex. Having a third party whose sole purpose is collecting that information, that data, identifying risks and potential non-compliance is really becoming essential for long-term success. No individual company is going to deploy the resources required to complete the level of diligence that Sayari do. And how, by being a customer, a company now gets access to that full data set with an organization who's dedicated purely to mapping those supply chains, understanding that risk, understanding the transactions that are going across border, the ownership, etc. That's where Sayari's tool now comes into play, and the economies of scale by just focusing on that and the breadth of offering just is increasing constantly.